Bangalore.
Bangalore, okay. Kerala? Okay. Delhi? I think there is no one from Delhi, if I'm not wrong. Okay, that's good. AP? Specifically Guntur? Anyone from Guntur? Okay. Jyoti, you are from Guntur?
No, sir. Vizag.
Vizag. Anyone from Guntur? Okay. Mauritius. Okay, so any questions or else any doubts from the previous sessions? So are you aware that at the end of the exam you will be having a, sorry, at the end of the module you will be having an exam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So hopefully from the next session or else by this weekend, so we'll be dividing you into couple of groups, okay, depending upon your course, what you have done, and depending upon the year what you're studying, or else you might be graduated. Depending on that, we'll be dividing the whole 19 people into different groups, where in the upcoming sessions you are supposed to do an uh, to do couple of tasks. So there will be good number of tasks where we'll be discussing on the practical aspects. Okay. So as of now, what we are doing is we are discussing on the theoretical aspects where the guidelines plays a main role. So in the upcoming session, what we'll be doing is we'll be discussing the practical aspects. So next to by the end of the module, you need to design a complete study. So design a complete study in the sense you are supposed to work on the specific protocol we'll be giving where you will be supposed to do the data entry, a dummy data entry, and a dummy patient will be there. So how you will be taking the informed consent to them, and how you are supposed to write the source documents. So we have something called a source documents that will explain in detail. And if in case if the any adverse events or else serious adverse events happen, so how to report those things. So like that, for each and every subject or else each and every group you are supposed to do such kind of tasks by the end of the module. So we'll be having a specific document. So have you heard about a document called as clinical study report? Clinical study report, any idea what is
No.
that document?
No, sir.
Okay. So you might be knowing about an this thing, right? A publication or else a thesis, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So give me a minute. Okay. Give me a minute, I think. I think I'm not able to do that. 1 minute. Okay. Can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So you have a document called a CPR, clinical CSR, sorry, clinical study report, which describes a results of a project. So when you do any project, be it your academic or else be anything, so you will be producing or else you will be filing the document in a thesis, right? So in the clinical terminology, this thesis is also called as a CSR. It is clinical study report. So our motto by the end of the module is to design and clinical study report for a specific group. So we might have 2 or 3 groups where we'll be discussing all the part where you will be doing various tasks, and the end of the module you will be designing a CSR report. Okay, this would be the your basic task while you are doing any this thing. Okay. Yes. So, what do you know about ICH? So, I want to hear from the people who are studying, uh, what I can say, fifth year, or else who had completed their sixth year, or else who are in intern. So, I think you already have a topic called as ICH GCP, right? So, what do you know by that? So, what do you know about ICH GCP?
Sir, it is an international conference on harmonization for human use, and it is a joint initiative that is the experts in pharmaceutical industry
Mm-hmm.
of US, Japan, and Europe, I think, to discuss the scientific and technical aspects of pharmaceutical product registration.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, Aishwarya. Okay, so Alvin, can you just open your Google Chrome and share the screen once? Just type ICH. Okay, so if you find this the first page, just go there. So this is the ICH official website. Okay, and you just go to the just go to the meetings section, or just scroll down once. Just scroll down. Just go to the trainings part above. You'll find a scroll down at yeah, trainings. Just go down. I think it's not there. Okay, just go to the about section. And not about mission history. Just go to the working products Okay, here go to ICH guidelines, all guidelines. Yes, exactly. So, if you remember in the previous session, we were discussing about a couple of guidelines and couple of organizations, right? So, if you remember, can someone answer who has uh, uh, released the Belmont report? Like, I mean, which organization has released the Belmont report? Yes, Abhishek. Belmont report was released by which organization?
ICH itself, I guess.
I'm not. You're not
ICH,
audible,
ICH.
Abhishek. Belmont report. Okay.
Mm.
Declaration of Helsinki.
Sir, Belmont report by National Commission for the,
National Commission.
for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biochemical and Behavioral Research.
Yes, yes, exactly. So, what about Declaration of Helsinki?
World Medical Association.
What about how about GCP
WHO.
and it's ICH and WHO. So, if you remember all these topics what we have discussed yesterday, so these guidelines were released by a couple of organizations. So here as well, ICH was released by the GCP guidelines was released by these ICH people. So the graduates or else the 50 years. Can you say me which version of ICH GCP are we using right now? You have in your syllabus as well. Which version of ICH GCP are we using?
E6R2.
What do you mean by E and what do you mean by R?
E means efficacy and R means revised version. Right.
Exactly said, Anjali. So, if you go to the ICH guidelines, so what Alvin is presenting right now, so ICH has released four basic guidelines. So, one is quality, safety, efficacy, and disciplinary guidelines. So, can you just click on the quality guidelines, Alvin? Yeah, again, if you see quality, so again they are divided into 1A, 2, 3A, 4A, like that. So can you just click in on any one? Yeah, again, if you see quality, again they are divided into these many different parts. So in the same way, if you go to efficacy, can you just go to efficacy? Yeah. If you see the E6, E6 speaks about good clinical practice, and E6 has R1 and R2 and R3. And right now we are using E6 R2 version. Okay, just click on that E6 R2, and if you just see here, you have the guidelines document. Just click on E6 R2 integrated addendum, and it's 66 pages of document which we'll be discussing today. Okay, so the reference for today's topic is this complete guideline. Okay, so hope you understood how to go and refer to the specific document, right? And the meaning of E6R2 is efficacy 6th section revised second document. Okay, so that is the current version we are using right now. So any doubts in the section, how to find the section, or else what is the meaning of the present version we are using?
No, sir. Understood.
That's great. That's good. So it has 66 pages. You can download and you can refer. So each and every point, each and every single sentence in this is important. So if you just go down, Alvin, to the section number 1, glossary. Yes. So here, these are called as table of contents. But in the practical scenario, these are considered as sections of ICH GCP. Okay. So number 1 section is glossary. Number 2 section is principles of ICH GCP. Third is IRB or IEC. Fourth is investigator. Fifth is sponsor. Just go down. Yeah. Sixth is clinical trial protocol or else protocol amendments. Seventh is investigator brochure. Eighth is essential document. So these if you see the document, these are called as tables of content. But in the practical scenario, in the working knowledge, if you see, these are called as sections. Okay. So there are 8 sections according to ICH GCP. So if you go to first section, go to first page number 2. Yeah, so this is the introduction. Okay, just go to the next page. So if you see here, so you will find n number of definitions. Okay, to an interview point of view. So if someone asks what is clinical research, if someone is asking what is SAE, if someone is asking what is GCP, so all these definitions you should be saying according to this document. Okay, so there again, I think there are 57 different definitions if I'm not wrong. So it's important, yeah, 65. Yeah, it's important that each and every definition you should be aware of and the meaning of it also. Okay, so we'll be not discussing each and every definition in this, but it's your task. Okay, it's your task to read each and every definition according to this document. Okay, hope you got the clarity.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. So in that case, we'll go ahead with the today's topic. So we'll be discussing ICH GCP E6 R2 today. So when it comes to why we required, so as we have discussed already in the previous session, so during 1990s, so we had a number of global trials happening and a number of R&D clinical trials happening around the globe. As the clinical trial was one of the major industry which each and everyone were focusing. So, but the drawbacks of that industry was there was no any harmonization. Harmonization means all the countries having same kind of principles or else rules. So not having that one, and each and every country has their own procedure. Because of that, the time consuming is completely different, and the cost required for clinical trials was also completely different. So considering these main aspects, so they have thought to come up with a guideline which is equal, which has equal importance, or else each and every country needs to follow that. So during this time, it was mainly 3 countries, okay? That is European Union, Japan, and UK. So these were the 3 countries who had thought of to come together to develop this document. And the reasons were need harmonization to meet global standards, time-consuming procedures, expensive R&D, increased R&D cost, or else expensive procedures, or else meeting public demand. During that period, as you remember, we had a number of pandemics, a number of diseases emerging. So to meet all these conditions, this was the main reason of constituting the ICH group. Okay, and if you see during 1990s there were 3 different groups. Okay, so to your better understanding, what I have done is I have
So
divided
Mr.
them into
Lucas,
different
it
uh,
would be great if you can
subparts.
keep in landscape mode. The text would be more clear.
Sorry.
Sir, actually, if you can keep in
Okay.
landscape mode, it will
Okay,
be
now
nice.
is it fine?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thanks Alvan. Okay, So to your better understanding, so there were different group of people. So to your better understanding, I've divided those uh, people into three different groups. Okay, there are three different groups. So the number one is the regulatory members. Okay, founding regulatory members. Number two is the industry members, and number three is the observers. Okay, so these were the three different groups who have constituted the ICH during 1990s. So if you see the regulatory groups, so as we have already discussed, there were three main countries. One is European Union, other one is the United States, the other one is Japan. So if you see during that time, these were the what I can say regulatory bodies of those countries. Okay, so these bodies have come up from the regulatory point of view, and apart from industries. So as we are discussing these three countries, in the same way we had different industry groups partners who were part of ICH as well. So again for European countries, this was the regulatory body, sorry, the industry body, and for the Japan, this is the another industry partner, and for America, this was the industry partner. So these why? Because it's a government body. When it comes to this industry partners, as it is an formation of country or is within their own thing, they don't have any rules and procedures whether to collaborate with other countries or not. So as they don't have any such kind of rules and procedures, what they have done is these three countries have combined and formed a international group of International Federation of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association. Later, all the remaining countries have joined this group, but in the starting, there were only these three countries who have formed this group. Okay, and as an observers, okay, as an observers, we have WHO and TPPA. TPPA is one of the observer body of Canada. Okay, so these were the three different group of stakeholders who have involved in constituting or else in organizing the ICH committee. Okay, so any doubts in this? So you should be aware about this as well. In the documents which I have shown, I'm not sure whether these all things are present, but if you go to the website about its history and all these things, you will be finding all these people. So any doubts? Okay. So as we have discussed, so the ICH guidelines speaks about four main documents. One is quality, safety, efficacy, and multidisciplinary. So we'll be discussing efficacy and that to E6R2. So in specific today. So if you see the sections of ICH GCP as I have already discussed, it is been divided into 8 sections. Okay. So this eighth section, we'll be not discussing today. Okay, and this sixth section as well will be not discussing today, and we'll be discussing about these two in separately, because it will be not covered within 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So these needs to be discussed. I think it takes 1 hour or else 2 hours for this one as well. So we'll be discussing these two topics separately in the other sessions. If you see the syllabus, you'll or in the curriculum, you'll find this topic separately. Okay, I'll say you the importance of this one, the eighth section. So it has a huge importance in terms of clinical trials. We'll discuss about this in the end of the session. Okay. So as I've discussed the glossary, so glossary speaks about all the introductions. So we'll be having an assignment or else a kind of session where we'll be discussing separately on the glossaries. Okay, yeah. So next comes the introduction or else the definition. Okay, so if you see, GCPN is an international unified standard. So each and every word in this sentence or in this paragraph is important. It's an international, which means that each and every country can follow that, and it's a unified document or else unified set of rules and procedures. International ethical, it speaks about ethics, it speaks about scientific quality standards. Okay, so it speaks about the ethics, and it speaks about scientific quality standards for. So the main reason of this document is for designing, conducting, recording, reporting trials that involve human subject. Okay, so this is the most important definition. So there'll be no any interview without ICH definition, I can say. Okay, this is the most important. So it's an international unified standard of ethics and scientific quality standards for designing, conducting, recording, reporting clinical trials that involve participation of human subjects. And other main principle also is right safety well-being of the clinical trial subjects are protected. This is also one of the another objective of ICH GCP. Okay, and this right safety well-being was taken by Declaration of Helsinki, as we have already discussed. Declaration of Helsinki was one of the major backbone or else major route for ICH GCP guidelines. Okay, so this is a definition, and this is the other objective of ICH GCP. So if you see the principles, so there are 13 principles in ICH GCP, and it's important that each and every principle. So I can say the importance of this document. I can speak to one or two, just specify. So if you are in a director position, okay. So if you remember our first session, so to reach to a director position, how many years of experience do you require? If you remember, how many years of experience do you require to reach to a director position, director of clinical operations or else clinical research?
More than 15.
Yes.
15 years. So let us assume that Alvin will be going for a director opening and he has an interview. To a 15 years of experienced person also, they'll asking questions on ICH GCP. Each and every single point, single line in ICH GCP. I'm not talking about this PPT. Whenever I say ICH GCP, I'm talking about those 66 pages of document. I'm not talking about this 10 slides. What I've done is to better understand, to make you understand a better way, I've condensed the 66 pages of document to 10 slides. Okay, but when I'm saying ICH GCP, I'm talking about this 66 pages. Each and every sentence, each and every word in this 66 pages of document is important. You might be at any of your position. You might be an auditor, you might be an inspector, you might be a director, or else you might be a CRC. Each and everyone should know about this document. That is the importance. Okay, so now we'll be it's not about only about anything. I'm speaking about the principles as well. Okay, so to discuss more about the principles, so if you see here, we have 13 principles together in ICH GCP. When it comes to the principles, so this document says, according to the ethical principles, the clinical trials to be conducted, and those ethical principles were taken from Declaration of Helsinki, as we have already discussed. Before a trial is initiated, risk and inconvenience should be weighed against the anticipated benefit. So, as we have discussed already, risk versus benefit ratio needs to be anticipated. If in case the benefit is more than the risk, in that case only you should do a trial. The rights, safety, well-being of the trial participants are most important considerations that should prevail over the interest of science and society. So when you compare these things, the right safety well-being of the trial participants are utmost important. Okay, the available non-clinical, that is the physical chemical properties, the laboratory information, and the clinical information in the sense the pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic, adverse event, dose, all these things of an investigator doc product, that is IP, as we have discussed. Investigator terminology is also called as IP, should be adequate to support the proposed clinical trials. So you should have all this information so that you will be proposing a clinical trial stating that these are the objectives, this is what we are planning to do. And this document, this we have a document called as protocol, which detailedly describes the way we are planning to do the project. Okay, so we should have a scientifically sound and described, clear, detailed protocol which describes the way to do clinical trials, the way to do that specific clinical trial. And a trial should be conducted in compliance with protocol. So as protocol describes how to do clinical trial as a individual. So this document is up, as I have discussed, this document is applicable for all the people. It might be auditor, inspector, or else in CRC, a director, it might be anyone. So for all these people who are involved in clinical trials, they have to work in compliance with the protocol, which has an approval from the IRB or else IEC. Okay, so next we'll discuss what is the difference between IRB and IEC in the next slide. Okay, so which needs to be approved by these people. And the clinical trials responsibilities or else the medical decisions should be taken by a qualified physician. Okay, so here qualified physicians we have an, so these are basically investigators. So in investigator section we'll discuss who are eligible as an investigator. Okay, and freely given informed consent, that is voluntarily given informed consent is must while conducting a clinical trial, and none of the trial procedures. So can you say any trial procedures, anything, any trial procedure?
Sample collection.
Okay, sample collection and anything you might know. If you are wrong also it's fine, we are here to learn, no issues. Sample collection and yes, physical examinations, vital signs. So there are n number of things. So
Case study.
basically, case study. Okay. So and any other answers?
Cohort study.
Counseling.
Exactly, counseling. Okay, no issues. So these are considered as study procedures. So before we do any kind of study procedure which are related to the trial, it's important that you should obtain a informed consent, and that informed consent should be given freely, that is voluntarily. Okay, so this is one of the principle. Apart from that, all clinical trial information should be recorded, handled, stored in a way that allows its accurate reporting, interpretation, and verification. So the data what you get from clinical trials, needs to be recorded properly and handled in the sense, in clinical trials we'll be using n number of physical documents. The handling in the sense, that needs to be stored for n number of years. That handling process needs to be handling should be clear, and storage needs to be also clear in a way that allows its accurate reporting. So this handling, recording, and storage should be proper, which easily helps the responsible person to report, interpret the data, and to verify the data. Okay, so these are the main keywords: handling, storage, reporting, verification, interpretation, and reporting. Okay, and confidentiality of the records needs to be maintained. The privacy of the subject needs to be respected. So when we speak about the confidentiality of the record or else the privacy of the health records or else subject, so yesterday we have discussed a principle or else a document. Can someone say what is the document or a rule? Yesterday in the session we have discussed, which describes the confidentiality of the documents. Yes.
Informed consent form?
Yesterday we didn't discuss about informed consent. We have discussed about one guideline, I can say, which describes about confidentiality of the clinical trial subjects. Mahalakshmi, any answer? Jyoti, Chaitanya,
HIPAA.
exactly. Who is that person who has said?
Jyoti.
That's great. That's great. So it's HIPAA. Okay. So that is HIPAA principle. So that is HIPAA. So this privacy and confidentiality speaks about this HIPAA principle. So according to this principle, according to the GCP, it's important that the confidentiality of the document needs to be maintained. Okay, that is one thing. And investigator product should be manufactured, handled, stored in accordance with applicable good manufacturing practices. So you have something called as in clinical trials we have GCP. In manufacturing we have something called as GMP, good manufacturing practices. So in the ICH also you will find this document. So this IP, this IP which we'll be using for clinical trial subjects. So that needs to be manufactured in accordance to the good manufacturing practices. Okay, systems with procedures that assure the quality of every aspect of the trial should be implemented. So, what do you mean by this sentence? Systems with procedures that assure the quality of every aspect of the clinical trial should be implemented. What do you mean by this sentence?
Like at every stage of the standards
Exactly.
of
Exactly.
quality.
Well said. Well said. So that is the meaning. So when you are doing any project, it might be during any phase of the project, the quality standards needs to be maintained. Quality control needs to be maintained. It might be any procedure, or else it might be any equipment, or else it might be any system, kind of electronic system as well. The quality of that needs to be maintained. Okay, and each individual involved in according to clinical trial should be qualified by education, training, experience to perform his task and responsibilities. So if it might be any person who are involved in clinical trials, they needs to have then education, training, experience to perform clinical trials. Okay, so now we will just discuss a document. Okay, we will just see a document. Tell me whether I can say that or not. So any doubts till now we have? No doubts?
Yes.
Excuse me, Dr. Hari.
Yes.
Can I ask one question? Here in we have GCP training also. Is there two differences or same? This ICH GCP is same?
Which training you are
ICH
talking about?
only GCP.
Where it is there?
It's available in Google also.
Okay.
GCP clinical practice training is available.
Okay.
So almost the syllabus is same, but I'm confusing that these two are same or
Yes,
different.
I understood your question. You are talking about the certification program, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So the next task would be that only. So you are supposed to do a certification program as well. So the one
They are
what you are
just
talking.
explaining in detail about this E6, right? I say GCP
Yes.
E6 or
Yes. The training certification what you are talking. and the one which I'm explaining are almost equal. I'm not sure which, like Google, which one you are talking about, but there is number of training certificates, but none of the training modules, like all the sections, are not covered in all the certifications. But we have one from NIDA, so you are in detail about ICHGCP, E6R2. Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. So now let us take some examples. Let's take example of Abhishek. Abhishek, you are in which year right now?
Intern.
Is an intern.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
So according to the principles, can he do any trial related activities or not? I want to know
Um,
from people. According to the principle, if you remember this principle, the last one, is he eligible to do any kind of clinical activity? Why?
He's not having the required experience.
Okay, experience is one. Another one,
Qualification.
perfectly. So first thing is qualification. He might be experienced. He might work as an intern somewhere, but he is not qualified to do that. Why? Because he's not didn't yet completed his graduation. Okay. So let us take an example of any other BDS people who have graduated, or else any other PharmD people who are graduated. They are eligible to do. Okay. Can someone from BDS people say whether they have already graduated or else they are working as an intern right now? Any?
Graduated.
Okay, Jyoti. Jyoti is graduated. So can she work as an CRC or else any kind of, or else let us consider PI only. Can she work as an PI? That is my question.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Why?
Training.
Required a certain training in that field.
Training and
Experience.
Experience.
exactly. So she has the required qualification and she is eligible to be a PA. But the lacking thing is training and experience. Okay. So like this, you need to find. So you have a document called as delegation log. Okay. It is the responsibility of PA to delegate the people. So we'll discuss what is delegation log and all these things in later. So according to this document, it should be clearly described whether the individual is being qualified with having experience and training. So that needs to be documented. Okay. So this is how you'll be finding the this thing, and this is how you will be checking the principles as well. So let us check one of the example. Okay. So here you have safety. Let us take an example of safety here. Can someone say one of the example in the same way? So we'll discuss couple of principles here. And practical example of principles. Can someone say any example which is related to safety of the subject?
He might have comorbid condition.
Comorbid conditions. Okay. What is the safety concern here?
If the intervention given exacerbate that condition, it might be fatal to the patient.
Not exactly. Any other answer?
Adverse effects of a investigational drug.
Adverse effect. So, if in case, let us take an example. patient of X is there, he got an adverse effect. And PA is
Hello.
aware about that adverse effect. He should treat the subject. It may
Sir, you are not
You
audible.
are not audible, sir.
I'm not audible.
Yes.
Now? Now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So let us consider a patient X. Okay. So what he has is he had an adverse event. Let us consider an adverse event of hypoglycemia. Okay. So the PI is aware that the patient has this adverse event. But what the PA has done is he haven't treated this adverse effect, hypoglycemia. So here the safety of the subject is compromised. Okay, safety of the subject is compromised, and according to this principle, the right safety and well-being of trial subject needs to be maintained properly. So here, as the safety is compromised, what does it mean is the PA is not working according to ICH GCP principle. Okay. So you got the clarity, right? How you need to interpret the principles in the practical scenario.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Okay. So now,
Sir,
yes.
what if the drug has an unexpected reaction which is not at all been known?
Yes, great question. So, a drug has two kinds of reactions basically. One is expected, and another one is unexpected. So, an expected one is okay, and which clearly describes how to manage, mitigate that kind of adverse events. And most of the drugs even have unexpected. But when an unexpected reaction happens, okay, we might not know what might be the unexpected reaction, but when an unexpected adverse reaction happens, it's the investigator responsibility to treat that. It might be an expected or else unexpected, or else it might be an any kind of adverse effects. It is the investigator responsibility to treat that. And if in case if the investigator is not treating, so it is considered as breach. So what do you by breach, ICH-GCP breach?
Deviation from the principle.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So if these kinds of events happen, if some breach is being observed, so we might, or else the regulatory might sue the doctor as well. They might cancel their practice. They might cancel their clinical. So I think, yeah. So Alvin, can you just open the Google Chrome and just type US FDA debarment list? Debarment list. Yes. Just click any the first one. No, no, not the first one. The second one. Just go to this back and just go to the second one. Just click there. First one. Yes. If you see here, so these are the different doctors who got debarred. In the sense they are not eligible for practice. So this is the doctor first name and effective date. This is the effective date, and he is he is debarred to do the practice for 5 years. The end of the debarment date is.
Sorry for the interruption, Hari. We are not able to see what you are showing.
Is it, guys?
It
We
is
could see,
visible,
sir.
sir.
I think you need to pin the pharma docs. That one.
Minimize the screen.
Yes. So can you open this volume page number first one, Alvin? The left, the right one, the right one, the first one. So here they describes how the debarment has happened, under which clause, what is the section. Okay. So just go down. address of the doctor, background information, each and everything. Okay, so this is how the department of doctors happens when they are in not compliance with ICH GCP principles. That is the most important document in clinical trials. Okay, so you can just go to the document later phase as well. So you understood how a debarment basically happens, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's great. So let me just share the screen. Thanks, Alva. Okay. So now let us take another example from this. Can someone take another example? As I've taken safety as well as the training part, can someone take an example and a case scenario?
Consent, informed consent.
Okay. So the people who have said consent, can they say and case scenario as well? So how do you prove that it is not taken before the trial related activities?
Sorry, sir, I didn't get the question.
Someone has said that consent form, freely given consent form, was taken after the trial related activities has been performed, right? That is the principle. I'm talking about a case scenario where that principle is breached. I want a case scenario example.
Okay, so the patient is unconscious and assent was taken, but later, after the patient is conscious, the consent was not taken.
Yeah, 100%. This can be an example. This will be a practical example as well. So in consent, so if the patient is unconscious, you have something called as LAR and impartial witness. Okay, so impartial witness. So what do you mean by LAR and what do you mean by impartial witness? As someone was saying, talking about informed consent, any of this topic, this concept we'll discuss in the ICF topic. But as someone was saying, and this person, and unconscious person. So here LAR, we have something called as LAR and impartial witness. Any idea what is the difference between both?
No,
Sir,
sir.
legally accepted representative.
Sorry.
LAR is the legal representative for the patient and impartial witness.
So what? How will you describe and or in what cases you will use an impartial witness? In what cases you will use an legal representative?
So in case of a minor who is involved in a clinical trial study, LAR can be presented.
Impartial example, if it is in a different language, which is not known to the bystander or a patient.
So to your information, when you are taking an ICF, you should take the ICF, the consent, basically in the language which the subject knows. All the companies, as we have a number of languages in India, each and every state has their own language, and the company or else the sponsor will design the ICF in all the languages available. It might be Telugu, Hindi, Urdu, Marathi, Punjabi, each and everything languages. So in that case, languages would be no problem. So another scenario.
Sir, when the subject is illiterate,
Exactly. Illiterate. Illiterate in that case, in so in illiterate, will you use impartial witness or else LAR?
LAR,
Why?
because the patient might not understand everything what is being explained to him. So in that case, a legal person will work out better.
No. So if you see the difference between LAR and impartial witness, so LAR is a person. So when a subject is in coma and if subject is in unconscious, in that case you will be using an LAR. And impartial witness where the patient is illiterate, he don't know how to read and write, nothing he knows, then in that case and impartial can be used. And impartial witness is a person who might be a relative or else family person or else any other person who can read, understand and write the language which the subject knows. So in few subjects, for example, let us take a illiterate person. He knows to how to speak in Telugu, but he don't know how to read and write. So in that case, I'll be an impartial witness, okay, where I know read, write, understand. Okay, so here he doesn't know how to read and write. So what I'll do is, as I know Telugu and the subject also can understand Telugu, I'll read on behalf of subject. I'll make sure that he's I'll make him understand the complete ICF on behalf of subject as well. I'll be signing the ICF as well. Okay, you understood the concept how you will be using impartial witness.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you should not get confused. If you have any doubts, you should ask me right now itself.
This is
Any
impartial witness is also applicable for the adolescent patients as well, right?
Yes. Adolescents as well as children's as well.
Okay.
Any confusion in what is the difference between, and it is one of the most important or else confusing topic in clinical research, and most of the interviewers will stress on this and they'll make you confuse. You should know the difference between LAR and impartial witness. Yes.
Sir?
Yes.
See, LAR for unconscious patient. So later, if the patient is conscious, it has to be reconsented.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
If he's in the trial, I'm talking. If he's out of the trial, by the time he got conscious, by the time he got conscious, the trial is completed. In that case, there is no requirement.
If he was unconscious and the trial drug was given, say suppose one dose was given, and then he regained the consciousness and reconsented, but he denied the consent. That can also be possible.
Yeah, it is his wish to continue the trial or not. We can't deny that fact.
Okay.
If he's not interested,
okay,
he's welcome to leave the trial.
Sir, I have a doubt. Can an impartial witness become LAR? Like relative can become LAR? Is that possible?
So you remember me my interview question 2 years back? I had the same question 2 years back, and I was not able to answer. Okay, I'll say you. And LAR can be an impartial witness can be an LAR, but an LAR can't be an impartial witness. This is one of the statement from one of the guideline. You understood?
What is the reason, sir?
You should find that. So in the exercise, what you'll be doing after this session, in that it is clearly mentioned what is the difference between an LAR, what is the difference between an impartial witness, and this statement has also been given. And in one couple of guidelines of ICH GCP or not ICH GCP, specifically the CT rules and all these things. This one is also clearly it is being given with a couple of examples. Okay, so it's your homework, I can say. Okay, this statement will be there. Yeah. So as we are discussing about the example, so as someone was saying regarding this thing, what I can say, 1 minute.
Sir,
Yes.
if patient initially ready to undergo the trial, and if the patient initially ready to undergo the trial. Like he's ready to become the subject, and later on he changed the thought. What happens?
He is okay to go. That is called as withdrawal of consent. That concept, what you are saying, is called as withdrawal of consent. Okay, so he's ready to go, and investigator should not force him to be in the trial. It is his wish to continue or not.
Okay, sir.
Any other doubts?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Like, if a person is really willing to participate in a trial,
Okay.
but he is a prisoner, will they accept those prisoners in
Yes.
participate in a trial?
Yes.
If yes means what they can choose, like impartial witness or LAR.
LAR.
Why not impartial witness, sir?
Why not impartial witness? Because an impartial witness, they are prisoners, right? So they will be having a lawyer. Couple of rules and regulations which they can't deny, or else which they can't which they have to follow. So in context with that, they will be a separate lawyer for each and every subject, where an LAR, he acts as an LAR. On behalf of them, they'll be taking all the documentation part. It's LAR in case of prisoners.
Okay, sir.
Sir, is there any special permission needed for the prisoners to be gone into trials?
Permissions, as of guidelines, we don't have any permissions. It might be not according to clinical trial guidelines, but I don't know about the jurisdictions or else the law. If law also, they might have a permission from the judge or else the prisoners in charge, like that, but nothing as of clinical trials specifically. They are considered as prisoners, that's it. They are also subjects according to clinical trials.
Sir,
Yes.
after consent denial, if the subject is interested in the study in the later stages, can he again join back to the trial?
Like consent, withdrawal, again consent.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Correct.
So it depends upon the couple of protocols. See, so in most of the protocols, we have something called as rescreening. So rescreening.
Oh.
So what do you mean by rescreening? Any idea?
To see the patient eligibility again.
So if in case the subject is there, blood samples were taken. According to the blood samples, according to the laboratory report, he is considered as not eligible. Okay, and after some time, let us take an example of HbA1c. So why HbA1c is used? In which cases HbA1c is used?
To average blood glucose.
Yes. So according to HbA1c, let us take an example of protocol stating that the inclusion criteria for HbA1c is greater than 10%. Okay. So now, according to this lab report, the patient got 9.5. Let us assume. After the doctor felt that he has many comorbidities, where after some time his HbA1c will increase. So after what they will do is, again they can rescreen as a new subject, where he will be again taken blood sample, again he will be checked, and again he will be sent. Okay, in this case this is acceptable according to protocol, but in this case it depends on couple of factors. For example, the recruitment period is consider recruitment period is 1 month. Okay, so in 1 month, let us consider 1st of May to 31st of May. Okay, so let us assume in subject 1 as screened on 1st of May. He continued till 30th. he withdrew the consent, or else let us take an example 20th. He withdrew the consent. After one day, he is interested to be a part of a gay trial. So in this case, it depends upon the protocol whether to include a trial subject or not. Because after he is done his consent, he will be taking IP. Again, if in case if he is getting the active group here, and in this case if he is get a placebo, we don't know whether what he will be getting, but it will be an safety concern to the subject as well. But according to not guideline, according to practice, general practice, these kinds of things will be not entertained. Okay,
Okay, sir. Understood.
next doubt.
Sir, if at all a trial is being conducted on a student who is living in a hostel or something, then the teacher who signs on behalf will become
No. That is, it depends upon the age of the student. Less than 18 bole to we need to have an what we call impartial witness.
Oh.
That's it. No teacher, no hostel. That's all. Nothing. Depends upon the age. That's it. On behalf of, if they are illiterate, on behalf of them, it's fine. If they are literate, if they are within less than the age, in that case, an impartial witness can sign.
I got the doubt because there was one unethical trial that was conducted and teacher signed on behalf of the students. So,
Oh, which trial it is?
HPV vaccination trial in Gujarat and in AP.
Oh, I was not aware about this.
Parents were illiterate, so the teacher signed on behalf of the students.
This was in the news.
Yes, sir.
Oh. So what did they say in the news?
It was an unethical trial. Even students died after the trial. Four from AP and 2 from Gujarat.
Oh, you go. So that's what I was saying. So now teachers, in that case, they're these people. What we can in most of these cases, parents will be accepted to take. Parents are accepted to be an impartial witness.
Okay.
So any other doubts? So hope you got a clarity on how you'll be using these two aspects, right? Okay. So now let us discuss about IRB and IEC. So this is the full form of IRB and IEC. Institutional Review Board,
So,
Independent Ethics Committee.
so your voice is very low.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So one is Institutional Review Board and another one is Independent Ethics Committee. IRB and IEC. So what is the difference between these both according to the that sentence, according to the wordings? What do you mean by Institutional Review Board? What do you mean by Independent Ethics Committee?
Institutional Review Board is associated with the hospital, and Independent Ethical Committee, it is independent of the hospital or the.
Okay. Any other answers?
IRB
Independent Ethical Committee includes layperson like
I'm not
leader
talking
of the
about the
society.
composition. I'm not talking about the composition. I'm not talking about the composition. The others?
IRB, basically they are involved in the protocol review and revision, but Independent Ethics Committee is concerned on the patient safety.
Okay. Independent Ethics Committee is considered patient safety. So let us assume I have done a trial, COVID trial. I have gone to IRB. They gave me an approval. So am I not legally binded to protect the subject? or else I'm not concerned, or else will I be, or else the IRB has no responsibility in checking the safety of the subjects?
They do have, yes, sir.
Okay. So any other answers? Okay. So as someone has said, then institutional review board is affiliated to a specific institution, and an independent review board is affiliated with an. It's not affiliated with anyone, but it's an independent to other people. So, but the roles, composition, working structure, each and everything is same for both the people. Only the affiliation which differs in those two. You understood the difference between these two, right? So the composition, each and everything is different, but it differs within the affiliation itself. Okay. So when it comes to the IRB and IEC, the main responsibility is to safeguard the right, safety, well-being. So it's not like IRB is responsible for protocol and IEC is responsible for patient safety. They both have the same responsibilities. And when an IRB IEC needs to pay more attention when including the vulnerable subjects. What do you mean by vulnerable subjects?
Who have more risk of getting any negative effects from the trial?
Special
Adverse
population.
effects.
What do you mean by special population? Who are included under vulnerable or a special population?
Neonates,
Children's age.
pregnant women.
Can someone say according to ICH GCP who are included in vulnerable population?
Vulnerable population includes such like children, prisoners, pregnant women, disabled persons.
Okay, that's good, but not exactly right. So we'll just see. Alvin, if you have some time, just can you just open that ICH 66 pages document and open the glossary? By the time I'll just try to explain other points. Okay. Need to check the payment that is being given or not. These are the roles and responsibilities. I are meeting at least this is one criteria. These are the various be having approval or else double approval, opinion any given protocol or such, and modifications if prior or else needs to be in that case an approval, and we might get a suggestion stating from EC that you need to include such kind of things where we'll be giving approval. Those are called as modifications or as amendments, and disapprove or else negative opinion. So they might give an
Sir,
disapproval
your
or they
voice
might
is not.
reject the proposal.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Now, is it good? Okay. So, yeah, thank you. So, in few cases, we might have an negative opinion or else disapproval for the protocol as well. In few conditions, if the subject safety is a concern, in that case, we might have a termination or suspension of a clinical trial as well. So, these are the various tasks what in clinic IRB or else an IEC has. And the composition functions and operations. Okay, when it comes to compositions, the people within the IRB or else IEC should have qualification experience to review, evaluate the scientific medical aspects and ethics of the proposed trial. So they need to have the qualification as such, experience to review and evaluate the scientific medical aspects and ethics aspects of the clinical trial. So this is the main responsibility of a member of an ethics committee. Okay, against the qualification. Okay, and when it comes to the composition as such, so there are at least 5 members. So this 5 members is to according to ICH GCP. According to different guidelines, the composition is different, and according to ICH GCP, it is 5 members, and at least one member whose primary area of interest is a non-scientific needs to be included, like in the sense layman. layman needs to be included, and one member who is independent to institution or else independent to ethics committee needs to be present, and he is the leader of the ethics committee. He is also called as chairperson. Okay, who is not affiliated with the institution. Okay, who is not affiliated with the institution. So any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Okay. And when it comes to records,
Sir,
yes.
so why we have to choose that one member who is not associated with the institute?
Okay. So let us consider an example. I'm doing an hospital. Oh, sorry. I'm doing a trial in my own hospital. I'm the head of that. I got a project worth of 1 crore. Okay, 1 crore is the budget of the project. I got that, and after reviewing that, I came to know that the subject safety might be at risk according to the knowledge what I have. So, and the budget is 1 crore. So, if I or else if anyone, if the chairman is from my hospital, what will be the scenario? If the chairman is from other hospital who is independent to the institution, what will be the scenario? You understood my question, right?
The one from outside will not allow to continue the study.
And what about the person who if is from within the institution?
He might agree to continue as.
He means for the profit.
Why? Yeah, profit is one thing, but why? I might influence the person to give an approval. That is a bias. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's the main reason the chairperson of the ethics committee is outside from the institution who is not affiliated. Okay?
Okay, sir.
And when it comes to the records and retentions, according to the ICH GCP, the records which are related to clinical trial of that specific project needs to be archived for at least 3 years. Okay, so this is one such document which describes about that one. So any other doubts you have regarding the ICH? Alvin, can you share that document if you have opened? Alvin, I think he's not there. Is anyone using their laptops? Yes, just go to ICH GCP and open that 66 pages document. What about the remaining people? No one is using laptops. The remaining people are using mobile or what? Yeah. Thanks. Okay, I think Alvin is projecting the document. Open the first one, Alvin. Just Control F, vulnerable subjects, or else just type vulnerable. Control F. Yes. Can someone read this? Can someone read this? What do you mean by this?
Individuals whose willingness to volunteer in a clinical trial may be unduly influenced by the expectation, whether justified or not, of benefits associated with participation, or of a retaliatory response from senior members of a hierarchy in case of refusal to participate.
Examples are the members of the groups within hierarchical structures such as medical, pharmacy, dental, nursing, students, subordinate hospital and laboratory personnel, employees of the pharmaceutical industry, members of the armed forces, persons kept in detentions. Other vulnerable subjects include patients with incurable diseases, persons in nursing homes, unemployed and impoverished persons, patients in emergency situation, ethnic minority groups, homeless people, nomads, refugees, minors, and other incapable of giving consent. So these are all people who are included, who are considered as vulnerable subject according to ICGCP. Okay, so when any vulnerable subject population is being included into clinical, is being uh, uh, proposed in the clinical trials, in that case, the ethics committee needs to take a priority action, or it's not priority action. They need, there should be more vigilant while they are taking any specific opinion related to the clinical trial. Okay, so you understood how you need to check the definition of all these things, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everyone. So, principal investigator. So, when it comes to the qualification of principal investigator, so ICGCP states he should be qualified by education. He should have the required training. He should have the experience to conduct the response, to be an investigator, also to do any clinical trial. And being an investigator, he should be familiar with the investigator product as described in the protocol and also in compliance with GCP. So we have discussed about the debarment list, right? So in case if he's not in compliance with GCP, he might get debarred within the practice, and he should also be in compliance with the regulatory requirements. Okay? So these are the responsibilities or else qualifications of an investigator. Apart from that, the other responsibilities are medical care to trial subjects, as he is a qualified person who can take these actions or else take the decisions related to medical aspects. He is responsible to take medical care. Communication related to IRB or else IUC. So if you check the flow in communication, I can say ethics committee.
Sir, your screen has not been shared.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, sorry for that. Can you kindly confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for that. So as I've discussing qualification by education, training and experience is required. He should be familiar with the investigator product as described in protocol, in compliance with GCP and in compliance with the regulatory requirement as well. As he is qualified to take medical actions or medical decisions, it is his responsibility to treat the medicals, to treat the trial subject. And communication. So here I want to discuss about the communication aspect. So in the practical scenario, when you speak about the communication, ethics committee stands in between. It's a middle pillar in terms of communication. So a sponsor, okay, no, not ethics committee. Sorry. It's not the ethics committee. It's the investigator. Okay, it's the investigator stands in between. So if anything needs to be communicated to ethics committee, the investigator will directly do that. And if the sponsor needs to communicate, sponsor in a sense, let us take an example of a protocol approval. He can't directly go to ethics committee and go for an submission. It's prohibited because they might influence the ethics committee members to give an approval. So this is the communication pathway to go to ethics committee. And when it comes to DCG or else the regulatory body, it might directly communicate to EC, it might directly communicate to PA, it might directly communicate to sponsor. So this is the communication pathway. You should be aware about this. In practical scenarios, you will be understanding more about this thing. But this is how the communication happens. So when it comes to the PI, so it's the PI who will be communicating with all the people. Okay. So if the sponsor, if in case if the EC needs a query, EC will directly respond to PI. Okay, the PI will redirect to sponsor. Again, sponsor will redirect to PA, and PA will redirect to ethics committee. And it's not this way. This way is prohibited. It's legally not acceptable. Okay, understood the procedure for communication, right?
Sir, it is
Yes.
not notified to the CRO
CRO.
because it
So
is.
yes, I understood your doubt. See, it might be a CRO or else it might be a sponsor. They are the corporate people. There is no difference in terms of communication. If CRO wants to discuss with the ethics committee, or else sponsor wants to discuss with ethics committee, it's the PA, the middleman, who will be communicating with both these people.
Okay, understood,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. So any other doubts? Okay. And compliance with protocol, as we have discussed, and investigable product. So he should be knowing about the side effects, chemical, physical, all the things about investigable and informed consent of trial subject. It's his responsibility. And progress report. So how many, the status of the trial, how many are screened, how many are randomized, how many are rescreened, how many are died, how many have fatal, how many have SAEs, or else how many have withdrawal from the subjects, withdrawal from the trials. This is the progress report. So this document describes about the status of the specific hospital where the trial is happening. Okay. And apart from that, safety reporting, as we have discussed, we'll discuss how the safety reporting are done. And premature termination and suspension of trial. The investigator has that authority to suspend or else to terminate the trial within that specific hospital. And final report by the investigator. The trial is being done, so investigator has and not authority. It's the responsibility of the investigator to prepare a final report. So any doubts in principal investigator?
No, sir.
And when it comes to sponsor, so the first thing of the responsibility of sponsor is the quality management, as we have discussed in the principle of ICGCP. When it comes to risk, so it's the responsibility of the sponsor to identify it, evaluate the degree, whether it is mild, moderate, severe, control it, to, in the sense, to mitigate it, to communicate it. Communicate in the sense, we have a communication pathway. So we'll discuss risk in the sense, I mean the safety here, and review that and report that. Okay, so these are the various responsibilities of a sponsor when a risk happens. He needs to identify the risk, evaluate under which degree it lies, control it, communicate it, review it, report it. And apart from that, the quality control and the quality assurance. SOPs. So you have various standard operating procedures when it comes to working principles of sponsor. So he needs to in compliance with all those SOPs, and the documents which are generated or else the documents which have been collected from all these people which needs to be in compliance with protocol, GCP, and regulatory requirements. That is one thing. And CRO, someone was saying, so the sponsor has the authority to give a delegate or else to give his couple of responsibilities to CRO, but the whole sole responsibility of working or else I can say he's legally binded. The sponsor is legally binded for the any mistakes or else for the any unethical practices happening within the clinical trial. He should monitor each and every aspect of clinical trial, whether he's giving to CRO or else not. And when it comes to designing part, a trial is being designed with sponsor. So you know how to design a trial, right? Randomized, double blinded, triple blinded, all these things. So it's the sponsor responsibility. Trial management, data handling, and record keeping. So managing the complete trial. It might be the logistic issues, it might be the supply chain thing, it might be anything. The data handle. So the data which is generated from the clinical trials, he should handle and he should store the data as well. That is one thing. And investigator selection. So whether the investigator is suitable to do the project or not, it should be decided by the sponsor only. And compensation to the subject and investigator payment. So what do you mean by this point?
what is the amount of money that is being given to subject for their participation in the trial?
It's only
If the
participation.
if the
No,
patient
if
dies,
the
the
patient
compensation
is
is given to the
Exactly.
family.
Exactly. The compensation, it's not only the participation fees or else reimbursement fees which they will be paying to the subject when he is part of a clinical trial, but it's also about the safety as well. If the subject has any safety concerns, then it was due to the clinical trial product. In that case, the sponsor is legally binded to pay the subject, or else it's their nominee. Okay. And apart from that, investigator payments. Okay, so as investigator is also doing a clinical trial, he's spending his time. He is also liable to get the amount from the from the sponsors. Okay, so this would be the communications with the regulatory. Okay, as we have discussed, he is also he should also communicate with the regulatory people, and information of the investigator product. Okay, so as we have already discussed, he should have each and every single information on the IP and medical expertise. So as is he, has as the investigator also is qualified to do the clinical trials in the same perspective, he should have the sponsor should also have a specific team which is uh, which is having medical doctors with medical experience who can take decisions which are related to the safety aspect. And other part is the good manufacturing practice of the investigator IP. So the manufacturing, packing, labeling, and coding of IP. So that is one thing. Supply and handle of investigator product. That is one thing. Record access and record keeping. That is another thing. And apart from that, the monitoring and the auditing thing. So as we'll be discussing in detail what is monitoring and auditing, yes, you should remember that it's a responsibility of the sponsor to do the monitoring and to do the auditing. And if in case if the trial, if the investigator, sorry, the sponsor feels that the trial has many safety concerns, in that case, the investigator has the, sorry, the sponsor has the, I can say, authority to cancel, suspend, premature or else permanent termination of the trial. At the end of the trial, if the trial is completed, so we have discussed in the first session, in the first slide, if you remember during the start of the class, clinical study report, right? So it speaks about the thesis. So it's a thesis document which describes the complete process of the clinical trials and its results. So it's the responsibility of the sponsor to design that document also, or else to prepare that document also. So any doubts in this, sponsor?
Now,
Yes? No?
No.
Okay. So in that case, we'll take a break for 4 minutes, and shall we join back at 7:40? I think it hardly takes more 15-20 minutes.
okay.
Okay, so we'll join back at 7:40.
Okay, sir.
okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is called as clinical trial protocol. So these are the basic contents what you see in the clinical trial protocol. But in detail, we'll discuss how a protocol basically looks. Okay. So I'll just give you the table of contents how a clinical trial protocol looks. Okay. So the first thing, the general information what you'll have in protocol is the protocol title. So if you remember in the previous sessions, we have gone through a couple of protocols as well as the studies as well. And according to that, each and every protocol has a scientific title and a general title, and protocol identification number also. So each and every protocol has its unique number and date. And date in the sense, each and every protocol is dated according to their latest versions. If a protocol is getting amended, and the date will be also getting amended. This date in the sense, the implementation of the protocol, that is called as protocol date or its implementation thing. And apart from that, it also contains the details of sponsor, monitor, or its sponsor medical expert, or its sponsor medical representative. In few cases, you might see even the investigator name in the protocol as well. So if it's only one specific protocol for one specific doctor, in that case, you can find the investigator name on the protocol as well. And apart from that, it also describes about the basic information. When it comes to basic information, it clearly describes about the investigator product, its route of administration, dose, regimen, treatment period, and summary of the potential risk and benefit to the subject, and description of the population to be studied, in the sense that is inclusion and the exclusion criteria. It also gives the reference to the literature and the data which are relevant to the protocol, or which are relevant to the study being conducted, and the background information of the trial. And apart from that, it also describes the objectives and the purpose. So why we are doing a clinical trial, and why only this molecule is being using, and what is the scientific basis of using this specific uh, kind of population. So this is described in the objectives and the purpose of doing a clinical trial. And trial design, so we have already discussed what is a trial design, right? So all these things will be also included in the protocol. And the selection and the withdrawal of the subjects. Selection in the sense, the inclusion exclusion criteria, and withdrawal. So withdrawal in the sense, when a subject can be withdrawn, in the sense a treatment can be withdrawn. It might be a permanent discontinuation of the investigated product, or else it might be a temporary discontinuation of the product. And in other cases, you will find the treatment of the subject. So how to administer the trial product, at what doses. So if in case if the dose is increased, how the dose escalation will be done, all these things. And the titrations as well. So in few cases, you'll find the titrations as well. And assessments of efficacy, how the efficacy is assessed, how the safety of the subject is assessed. And it also speaks of the statistics, how the statistics is being done according to the protocol. And it also speaks about the source documents, and also the access given to the documents which are generated during the clinical trial. And it also describes the quality control, quality assurance, ethics, data handling and how to record the data, finance and the insurance, the public policy, in the sense publication. So these are the various headings, or else I can set the table of content according to the protocol. So any doubts in this?
No.
So you have something next one called as investigator brochure. So before I go to the next slide, I want to hear, what do you mean by investigator brochure?
Standard methods for conducting trials.
That is also described in protocol, right? So in that case, what is the difference between IB and an protocol? So, sorry, can you be a little bit louder? You are almost correct.
information about the investigator, what they have done.
No.
Complete background and
Investigator responsibilities and how
No.
they have to conduct.
CV qualifications.
Yeah. So see, the
certifications.
information is correct what you are saying, and how to conduct the trial, that is also correct. What information is will be present, that I think most of the people are missing. Not trial,
About
not
the
study.
investigational drug.
Exactly, 100% right. About the investigator product, let us assume here we'll just take a slide to just discuss about that. So we have phase 0, or else we can even consider preclinical. From preclinical to get into the clinical, into the subjects. So while you are doing preclinical studies, you'll have some data. And data in the sense which the data related to IP. And when the same drug passes phase 0 and it goes to phase 2, the data will be updated. Okay. And the same data, same trial, when it goes to phase 2, again the data will be updated here. Okay. So the same happens phase 3 and phase 4. The data will be updated, which is related to IP, investigator product. Okay, the protocol for each and every these phases might be different, but the drug what they are using is same, and the data will be updated. The data in the sense the safety parameters, the efficacy parameters. When they are doing it trial on new product, the information what we get from that product, the data will be different for each and every kind of phase. Why? Because the population what you are including in all these phases are different. The dose is different, the population is different, the comorbidities are different, the data will be also different. The data which is being updated related to IP from each and every phase will be incorporated into a document that is called as IB. Okay, the data from each and every phase which is related to investigator product will be incorporated into a document called as IB. So that is the use, that is the information what will be present in the IB. Okay.
okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So this is how an investigator product, investigator brochure contents look. So we'll be not discussing here anything on the future sessions also. We'll be not discussing what is the use of IB, what contents are present, because as all of you are from medical field, by seeing the content, or by seeing the heading of the topic, you can easily figure out what will be the content. So if you see here, table of contents, it's common thing. Summary of the trial product, introduction of the trial product, physical, chemical, pharmaceutical properties, as well as the formulations of the clinical trial, non-clinical studies, that is non-clinical pharmacological studies, pharmacokinetic and product metabolism in animals, and toxicological studies, effects in humans. That is this complete section describes about phase 0 to phase 4, that is pharmacokinetic, product metabolism, that is pharmacodynamic, safety and efficacy, and market experience, that is phase 4. Okay, this complete information also will be there. Apart from that, summary of the dates and guidance for the investigator. So as the investigator responsibility is to take the medical decisions which are related to the safety aspects of the subject, so he should be aware about the pharmaceutical product information. So this document describes about the pharmaceutical product information. Okay. Any doubts?
No, sir.
That's great. So in the 8th section, we have something called as essential documents for the conduct of clinical trials. So we have a number of documents. In the next upcoming sessions after this, we'll be discussing how these documents will be used. Okay. So excuse. According to this section 8, you have I think it is 56 if I'm not wrong. So all these 56 documents are divided into three different parts. Before conducting any clinical trial, during the conduct of clinical trial, after the completion of clinical trial. So these all documents basically needs to be there during the process of clinical trial. It might be any phase, but these all document needs to be there. So in detail, we'll be discussing what are all those documents. I think most of the documents we have already covered during the last two sessions, last two or three sessions. But in detail, we'll be discussing the other documents as well. So I think you might be active in the LinkedIn, right? So if you just check couple of your seniors or else couple of the pharmacy graduate, life science graduate profiles, you find something called as ETMF specialist. Did you find any such kind of designation? TMF specialist, ETMF specialist.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just look
Yes.
to your LinkedIn profiles and just find out. So how many people are working under this specific role? So each and every company or else each and every uh, study has this essential documents which are needs to be filed. Okay, which needs to be filed, and these are when it comes to the filing, there are two different types here. So if you see, as I've already discussed, the documents needs to be filed by the investigator, and some documents needs to be filed by the sponsor. The location of the filing, location in the sense, filing in the sense, it's a kind of binders. Okay, it's a kind of files. So if the investigator has that files, that document is called as ITMF. And if the sponsor has that file is called as STMF. So here TMF is a common. So what do you mean by TMF?
Trial master file.
Exactly. So all these 56 documents, or else if there are 100 documents, if those 100 documents are filed in the within the investigator, that file is called as TMF. And if these 100 documents are filed within a sponsor, it's called as STMF. And most of the sponsors in present scenario, rather than filing in the hard copies, that is the paper copies, what they do is they file electronic, and when electronic filing is done, that is called as ETMF, electronic tile master file. And in India, as of now, we are using paper copies for filing in ITMF. And if this electronic is done, then those might be also called as ETMF, that is investigator electronic trial master file. But in India, as of now, I haven't seen any investigators filing electronically, but it is mostly paper. Okay, depending upon the documents. So it's not like all these 100 documents will be there with sponsor, or else all these 100 documents will be the investigator. There are few documents which will be with the investigator. There will be few documents which will be only present with the sponsor, and there are few documents which will be present with both of them. Okay, depending upon the location. Okay, depending upon the location of the document, these documents are divided into two, that is ITMF and STMF. Okay, so that is one point. And as I've discussed, electronic, that is called as electronic trial master file, that is in investigator electronic trial master file. So did you understand what is the difference between STMF and ITMF?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir.
So if Alvin, can you open the same 66 pages document? And when it comes to the role which we are discussing here, so these people, the ETMF specialists, their document is to file the documents in the ETMF, that is the sponsor. There are few people who specifically works for this electronic trial master file only. Their documents is to file that documents in the within the sponsor database. Yes. So I think I can go back to the slides. Here, just go to the 8th section. Just scroll down to the index. Go down to the 8th section. Just check the page number. Yes, 45. Go down. Down. You will find tabular. Yes. Stop. So if you see, these are the documents which are, if you see section 8.2, these are the documents which are required before clinical trials. The one document is IB. So here, the purpose of the document. So to document the relevant and current scientific information about the investigator product has been, and when it comes to the location, this is both the investigator or else the and with the sponsor. The next one would be protocol. What the protocol is used for. It will be also present both the people. That scroll down, Alvin. Can you just run? So like this, you will find n number of documents which will be there with the investigator sponsor. And in case if you recruitment, but those will be not with the sponsor. Okay, this tabular column, I think there are 50. You should be aware about each document, their use, in the sense their purpose and the location. Where about this only section, this 8th section, you can easily apply to those jobs and can easily get the job as well. Important, just scroll down, just go to section 8.3.
This is also related to CM, right, sir? Somehow related. Okay.
8.3 describes about trials. If you see IB, it will be updated depending upon the information availability. Before the clinical might be during the clinical trial. Information will be updated. Or that. So these documents are filed, and by using this document, you can easily categorize the documents according to this table, and you should be aware as well. Okay, you have a separate session on this, separate class on this only section, 8th section. If you see the syllabus, you'll find a topic called essential documents. So there we'll be discussing in detail about this only section. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Chrome again. Sorry, Alvin, I'm traveling right now, so I don't have my laptop to access. So I'm using my iPad. So sorry to disturb you many times. Just type ICH GCP NIDA. Yes. So this is the website which you should be using for your assignment. It's NIDA. Just go there, register yourself, and yes, this is register yourself. Create an account, register yourself. Just go down. Yeah, username, your organization, email. Yes, once go to here. My IRB requires 100%. If you just go down. Huh. For INH affiliation, you should keep no. And for my IRB requires 100% passing degree. Here you should keep yes. Okay. The remaining details you can enter. You can create your own account. Just go up, Alvin. You'll find resources. Just go to that resources. Yeah. So there are 11 modules basically in that. So one first module is introduction and research protocol. So here they described about protocol, IRB, documentation and record keeping, informed consent, and research misconduct as well. This is not included in the R2, but here it is included. Confidentiality and privacy. Here you have only one sentence about confidentiality and privacy, but in this document it detailedly describes what is confidential and what is privacy. Roles and responsibilities you try to cover here, but anyhow we have a separate session which we'll be discussing about the roles and responsibilities. Go down, and safety, and this one as well we'll be again discussing. Recruitment retentions we'll be discussing. Quality assurance also we'll be discussing, and IND also. So it's basic information. There is nothing big, or there is nothing complicated while you do this I can say while you do this assignment. So after completing each and every assignment, there will be a quiz which will be generated, which you need to answer. After which, if you answer all the according to the score, according to the metrics, if you answer all the questions, you will be having a score for each and every section. After each and every section is done, like after all the 11 section quizzes are done, you will get a certificate which will be valid for 3 years. Okay, and that certificate is an entry pass for your interview. Okay, along with the resume, it is another entry pass for your interview. It might be any interview. I told where I said GCP is required, right? It might be for your any interview. That is the entry pass what the interviewer will be expecting from you. Okay, so considering the importance of this exam, so I'm giving you an assignment as well. So you need to go and attend, register and complete this assignment, and you need to share me the assignment like certifications. Okay. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Alvin. Yes. So, what should be the deadline? What should be the deadline to complete the assignment?
Sir, I already did this.
If someone has those assignments, you can share. There is no requirement to do. If you are really interested, you can do again. It will be a revision for you.
Okay, sir.
It's up to you. Yes. What should be the deadline for this?
You give us deadlines, sir.
Okay. So in that case, I'll be giving you 2 weeks. So today is 6th. I expect you guys to submit the certificates by 19th. 19th of June. Okay. 19th of June in the sense
Okay, sir.
19th June 12 a.m.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
That's good. So, how was the session? Whether I was fast, slow, understood? Any comments?
Understood, sir. It was interesting actually.
That's good. I think compared to those previous session, this session was little bit interactive,
Yes, sir.
and Abhishek was hyperactive. That's good, Abhishek. We'll find few people in all the modules like you. So, any other comments?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So, and another assignment as well. So, that would be a quick assignment. So, when do you have the essential documents topic? Let me know. So,
On 15th, sir.
on 15th, that is on Saturday, right? Yes, if I'm not wrong, it's not. It's on Wednesday. So, what is the topic on Monday? 13th?
Good documentation practice and compliance with GCP.
Okay, that's great. So on 13th, yes, if we are taking session on 13th, so it will be a little bit lengthy session. I think it will be a 2.5 hour sessions where GDP will be discussed with, GDP will be discussed by Aditya, and in compliance in GCP. So before I'd say about that. So what do you mean by compliance in with GCP?
Following GSP guidelines.
Following the gist.
Okay, so we have discussed couple of examples, right? So in the same way, I'll be designing couple of examples, and I expect all of you to read the GCP, complete GCP guideline. On top of that, you should be aware about each and every introduction definitions. Okay. On 13th, the first part would be GDP. After that, in compliance, so I'll be giving such kind of examples, and I'll be picking up someone randomly. Okay, where I might ask any definition, or else I might give them any case, and I'll be asking them whether it is in compliance with GCP or not. Okay, it will be an exercise. It will be not an any session, but it would be an exercise. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready for that? I assume all 19 people should attend that session. It's the kind of discussion. I'll not
Definition about?
definitions. Glossary one, like introduction. You have definitions, right? In ICH
Yes.
document. So that definitions you should read. understand. If you don't understand, that's fine. You can ask me questions in the session, but it will be an interactive session where I'll be not giving any lecture on any topic, but it's an interactive, practical one which we'll be discussing. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Sir,
that
it will be
is,
on
sorry.
13th. It will be on 13th, sir.
Yeah, 13th you have GDP, right? Along with that, in compliance with GCP, also you have that. In compliance with GCP, during that session, I'll give you a couple of cases. You need to say whether it is in compliance with GCP or not, and you should even say according to which principle or else according to which section. Okay, in GCP, if you go, what all I've told you, there each and every point is under some. Who is responsible for that? Like that, for example, I'll give a case where it to investigator selection. So according to GCP, it is the responsibility of the sponsor to select the investigator, right? So that you should be able to say. Okay, so uh, let us assume I'll give you a case where an investigator is not qualified. Qualified in the sense he's still doing his internship, or else he has a fake degree. Let us assume. So, according to which, whether it is in compliance with GCP or not, and according to which principle. So, in GCP, you have 13 principles. According to which principle you are saying that, you need to have a reference for that as well. You should say yes or no, whether it is in compliance with GCP, and what is a reference for that. You understood, right?
Yes, sir.
So I think you have more 9 days. In that 9 days, you should read all the 7 sections of GCP, including the definitions. So it would be a lengthy session. So you can ask me any doubts, or else we can. It will be a complete interactive session. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And when do you have essential documents topic according to your syllabus?
$15,000.
Okay. So 1 minute. So in that case, I would expect all people to read and uh, to just discuss within yourself, or else if you have any doubts, you can come to me as well. So you should be aware about all the sections of all the documents which are present in the 8th section before 15th. In sense, section number 1, 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, and 8.4. Before doing clinical trials, what all documents are there, their purpose, their location. In the same way for the remaining 2 as well, during clinical trials and after clinical trials. Okay, so this would be your assignments, homework, whatever you consider. This would be your next 3 things. So one thing is the ICH GCP certificate, and other thing would be your GCP compliance homework, and other thing would, and I think I'll be not taking any separate session on essential documents. It will be discussed within the session itself. Okay, so and other section would be the essential documents. Okay, so this would be your homework which is related to GCP. Okay.
Sir.
That's great. So any questions, doubts, anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in that case, are we good to conclude the session?
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys, then. Have a nice day. So if you have any doubts, you can ping me in the group or else personally as well. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks,
sir.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.